Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I signed the most useless ability, and I became the strongest in the world. Chapter 21. When Su Chen saw this news headline, the water I just drank in my mouth almost couldn't hold back and spit it out. This guy's oath has come true. What a weird expression on Su Chen's face at this moment, how weird. When Tongwu swore at that time, he always felt that something was wrong. That's why he chose not to accept Tongwu's words. Saw this news right now. Su Chen reacted suddenly. Now in this world, there are many curse-like abilities. What Chen Daqiang possesses is a very outrageous curse-like ability. The combination of two people can instantly kill the beast of the SSS level beast domain in an instant. So Su Chen has been feeling. Curse abilities are the most troublesome abilities. And what happened to Tongwu? Su Chen guessed that there was a high probability that it was hit by some kind of curse ability for no reason. Although I don't know the specific situation. But Su Chen thinks that in the era of the rise of supernatural powers, it's best not to swear. Maybe he was hit by that cursed ability. On the other hand, the emergence of this explosive news has completely made everyone understand. This is not the level that those two ruthless people have passed. Who else can there be? I didn't even see that the oath that Thor made in front of others has come true. And maybe, this is the punishment those two ruthless people gave Thor. I feel that I can't be called Thor now, let's call him Xiaolei in the future. Brother upstairs, you are too realistic. Quote. All of a sudden, there were a lot of apologies on the internet. If said they apologized before. I just felt that I was really a little too much at the time. Now they are really scared. Even the supernatural powers can be lost, so who doesn't panic? Looking at the comments on the internet, Su Chen was also a little dumbfounded. If he can really kill other people's abilities, then he is not really invincible. Who would dare to provoke him? Shaking his head, Su Chen closed these news windows, and browsed the Wastewood Supernatural Power website again. But after looking at it for half an hour, Su Chen couldn't find any ability that could cooperate with his morally broken ability. Then a burst of tiredness hit, and Su Chen fell asleep directly. In the early morning of the next day, Su Chen simply washed up and ate something, then went straight to school. Although now he doesn't need to learn anything at all. But there are many people in the school after all, Su Chen thinks maybe it can broaden his thinking. When he arrived at the school, more than half of the people in the class were already sitting. Su Chen didn't pay attention at first. But listen carefully, everyone is actually talking about the ruthless customs clearance. Some people said that they must be from their dragon kingdom. It is also said that many powerful supernatural beings have awakened abroad. It must be someone from abroad. However, the language in the beast realm is common. If you speak Mandarin, you will hear Mandarin, and if you speak foreign language, you will hear foreign language. Therefore, the people who argued in the two waves failed to come up with any tricks in the end. Su Chen, do you think the two ruthless people who passed the customs are from our dragon kingdom? Su Chen was about to walk past this group of people, but Hu Xiaoxiao called out to him when he didn't think so. Just now when Su Chen saw it, she yelled the most. Said that the two ruthless people who cleared the customs were not from Longguo, and she, Hu Xiaoxiao, stood on her head and had diarrhea. Such a strong oath. Only a tough woman like Hu Xiaoxiao can tell. And at this time, he was stared at by Hu Xiaoxiao and a group of classmates. Su Chen could only shrug his shoulders and said, "It should be from our dragon country. After all, our dragon kingdom has a vast land and resources, and there are quite a lot of talents." Hearing Su Chen's answer, Hu Xiaoxiao immediately waved his palm excitedly. As if Su Chen's answer is the truth. Then Su Chen returned to his seat. Hu Xiaoxiao also hurriedly followed. "Su Chen, did you say that just to support me? I knew you were my best buddy." Su Chen froze for a moment. His answer like that has nothing to do with Hu Xiaoxiao's half a dime. He just doesn't want to lie. Okay. This guy Tongwu can kill his abilities even if he swears. Who knows if lying will have any serious consequences. Although he is immune to all curse abilities. But it's better to avoid it if you can. You'd better not swear indiscriminately in the future. Thinking of this, Su Chen immediately reminded Hu Xiaoxiao. Hu Xiaoxiao was taken aback when she heard the words, and then she seemed to suddenly think of something. "Ah, is that what I just said, an oath?" Woo, what can I do? If those two ruthless people who cleared the customs are not from the Dragon Kingdom, I won't really be forced to stand on my head and have diarrhea. Su Chen, actually, you don't have to care that much. Su Chen comforted. Su Chen, you can't swear indiscriminately now. You don't even know how many couples broke up last night. Su Chen was taken aback when he heard this. What does this have to do with the couple breaking up? When Hu Xiaoxiao heard Su Chen's words, he gave him a sharp look. Brother, don't you even use the internet? Seeing Hu Xiaoxiao's puzzled expression, Su Chen was completely taken aback. He went to bed early last night, who knows what happened on the internet? And Hu Xiaoxiao didn't let it go any longer. He took out his phone and showed it to Su Chen. With Su Chen's calmness, Rao couldn't help laughing when he saw the content on the phone. It turned out that last night's swear words intensified. People all over the world have experienced the era of the rise of supernatural powers. It is best not to swear randomly. But it gave many girls who longed for true love a chance. I don't know how many women there were last night, whether they were facing their boyfriends or husbands. A question with almost the same content was asked. Tell me, do you love me or not? Bao, what are you thinking? Of course I love you. Then you swear. ... You are hesitating. Bah, scumbag, you really don't love me. ... Hu Xiaoxiao put away her mobile phone, then leaned in front of Su Chen and said mysteriously. Do you know what we girls called that one night last night? Su Chen heard the words. He shook his head suddenly. Let him guess the woman's mind, it would be better to kill him altogether. Hu Xiaoxiao cast a glance at Su Chen, then looked out of the window sadly. We call it Love Burial Night. Time seemed to have completely stopped at this moment. Hu Xiaoxiao kept the slight sadness in his eyes all the time, and didn't move at all. She hoped that Su Chen could see through her bravado and uncover her disguise. But 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed. Until Hu Xiaoxiao's neck was sore, she couldn't hear what she wanted to hear. Turning his head viciously, Hu Xiaoxiao just wanted to start scolding. But, what about people? Is there anyone else in Su Chen's seat? Turning to look at the back door, Hu Xiaoxiao gritted his teeth and roared. Su Chen, you are a killer. The other side, Su Chen was already on his way to the toilet. He doesn't understand whether to bury love or not. He only knew that if he didn't find a suitable ability to cooperate with, then he would be useless today. I just experienced the thrill of a surge in physique yesterday. How could Su Chen be willing to waste the opportunity to enter the beast realm? Hey, let's take a look at the function of this moral ability first. Su Chen sighed. Then he set his sights on a boy with yellow hair next to him. At this moment, he concentrated his energy and instantly raised that boy's moral character hundreds of millions of times. Then Su Chen stared at the yellow-haired man, and suddenly found something different. The yellow-haired man's eyes were arrogant before, and he looked like the kind of gangster in the school. Look at the attitude of everyone turning their eyes blank. But now, his eyes suddenly became much clearer. Several classmates walked past him, and he greeted them with a smile. Only, those people were frightened by Huang Mao's expression. Just opened his mouth and said, Brother Chang, what did we do wrong? Do you think it's not enough? Why do you feel like you are going to block us at the school gate again? Looking at the scene in front of him, Su Chen couldn't help being stunned for a moment. But soon he figured it out. Although the awakening of abilities has affected the lives of many people. But those are people who have awakened powerful abilities. For some people who have awakened the power of waste wood, the trajectory of life does not seem to have changed. Should there be school violence, there will still be school violence. There should be stalls selling sweet potatoes, and there are still stalls selling sweet potatoes. I sighed a little. Su Chen hurriedly turned his head and stared at the yellow-haired man. He wanted to see how the yellow hair, who had improved his moral quality a billion times, would answer the question just now. After hearing what those people said, the yellow-haired man suddenly showed extreme shame on his face. I've done too many wrong things before. I want to sincerely apologize to you. We are classmates and close friends who receive higher education together. We should help each other and love each other. A bird needs a nest, a spider needs a web, and a man needs friendship. Friendship as a rainbow that colors our lives. Friendship as a bright light that illuminates our souls. Quote. Not only the two people opposite Huang Mao were dumbfounded. Even Su Chen on the side hurriedly supported the wall next to him. He was afraid that he would not hold on to something, so he couldn't help laughing and fell to the ground. In terms of being funny, he felt that this moral ability was even far superior to the naming ability. But, even if the yellow hair is transformed into this, Su Chen still couldn't think of the use of this broken ability. Even if he could make those ferocious beasts treat him politely. Then what? To tear him up politely? Or, while they were being polite, Su Chen suddenly tore them up. If it is an A-level beast domain. With his current strength and confidence, Su Chen was able to succeed in the sneak attack. But facing SS level and SSS level beasts in the beast domain, Su Chen felt that even if they stood still for him to blow, he couldn't blow off the hard animal skin at all. Clear the beast domain. What needs to be done in the end is to kill all the beasts. And it is obviously impossible to achieve this goal only by relying on this moral ability. Because there is no such thing as morality. You can make a person stand still and let strangers kill you indifferently. Etc. Stranger. At this moment, Su Chen seemed to think of something, and couldn't help exclaiming instantly. Su Chen figured it out. He finally figured it out. Why did Huang Mao in front of him say something about friendship to those classmates? Because the relationship between them is only the friendship between classmates. The degree of politeness towards these few people has been increased by hundreds of millions of times. That is also limited to the friendship between classmates. Empathy. Even if Su Chen raised the moral values of those beasts a billion times, he had nothing to do with them after all. How polite can a stranger be with a stranger, no matter how polite they are? But, what if his relationship with the beast was no longer a stranger? What if he could make those ferocious beasts kneel down and call him daddy? Since ancient times, the father's will is hard to disobey. Even in this era, many fathers tell their children to go east, but the children dare not go west. The period of conferring gods. What's more, there is Neja who cuts the bones to change his father, and cuts the flesh to return his mother. A father. The morals contained in it are too heavy. And when this morality was raised billions of times, Su Chen couldn't imagine how terrifying a father's majesty could be. Yes, Su Chen couldn't make the group of beasts kneel down and call daddy. But someone can do it. In an instant, Su Chen thought of the brother who was at the top of the power list before. Isn't his ability to make everyone call him dad? When Su Chen cooperates with his abilities, it will definitely have a miraculous effect. Thinking of this, Su Chen no longer hesitated. He took out his mobile phone and logged on to the Wastewood Ability Network again. Yesterday, he browsed through the entire useless ability website, but forgot about the list of useless abilities. If he had looked at the list at that time, he might have already had an idea. But it's not too late now. The time is too late for Su Chen. Click on the list of useless abilities, and Su Chen looked directly at the top. But at a glance, the expression on Su Chen's face couldn't help but froze. Hu Xiao, I really belong to you. The ability to call dad, which originally held the top spot, has been squeezed to the second place. Now at the top of the list is worse than supernatural powers. I don't even have supernatural powers. When Hu Xiao released this competition information yesterday, in less than 10 minutes, it was pushed to the 9th position on the ranking list. Su Chen didn't expect that after one night, he actually reached the first place in the list of useless abilities. This year's netizens are really free. Su Chen looked at the comments below. At this time, not even 24 hours had passed. But the number of comments has soared to hundreds of thousands. Is this impure and a bit idle? Looking away from the top position, Su Chen felt that the business was still important. Now, he has to quickly find the contact information of this supernatural person. Click to open the comment area of the second place. Su Chen wanted to see if he could find some useful information from here. But he didn't expect that there was no need to look for it. Because the first comment that was pinned to the top was commented by the supernatural person himself. I don't agree. Dissatisfaction in capital letters. Why am I not at the top of the list? Without special abilities, there is no way to get any benefits. But let alone the benefits of my ability, it will bring deep harm to me. Su Chen glanced at the time. This comment was posted by himself half an hour ago. And now there are tens of thousands of follow-up comments. I can't live laughing anymore, I can't live laughing anymore. So the competition on the trash list is so fierce. I have to say, everything this brother said is true. Haha, go up, let's help him get back to the throne. Quote. The comments in the comment area can make Su Chen laugh to death. Resisting the urge to read on, Su Chen clicked on the profile picture of this superhuman. After seeing the option to send a message, Su Chen immediately beamed with joy. After pondering for a moment, Su Chen directly edited a message and sent it. Brother, I'm your loyal fan, can I get to know you? Information is somewhat generic, but if you come up too enthusiastically. Su Chen was afraid that he would be scared away. But in the next second, Su Chen was stunned. Reject. It turned down. He sighed in disappointment, the road was blocked. I don't know how many people have sent him private messages. The supernatural person was afraid that he would be annoyed, so he directly refused to accept the private message. Put down the phone. Su Chen put his hand on his chin and felt a trace of melancholy. The world is so big, where can he find this supernatural being? Isn't this like finding a needle in a haystack? Student, is there any trouble? I wonder if there is anything I can do to help you. At this moment, suddenly, an unusually enthusiastic inquiry came from behind Su Chen. Su Chen looked back, the expression on his face froze for a moment. Who is it if it's not the yellow-haired man from before? Well, the improvement of moral quality by billions of times directly transformed this guy into a living Lei Feng. It's nothing, I just want to find someone and can't find it. Su Chen waved his hand and said casually. Unexpectedly, the yellow-haired man continued to say enthusiastically. Find someone, I know a lot of friends, maybe I can help you. Hearing this, Su Chen said without much hope. I want to find this person. Do you have any friends who know him? Su Chen showed the yellow-haired man with his mobile phone. In the next second, the action of the yellow-haired man frightened Su Chen back several steps. I saw the yellow-haired man kneeling on the ground with a plop. Looking at Su Chen's cell phone, tears suddenly flowed down his face. Father. A father is an unfilial son. Father. Is your son unfilial? Looking at the yellow-haired man crying. Su Chen felt completely bewildered. Where is this going? Looking at the yellow-haired man's emotions at this time, he was too excited. Su Chen didn't know how to interject for a while. After waiting for about 7 or 8 minutes, the yellow-haired man calmed down a little. Only then did Su Chen move closer to the yellow-haired man. Where have you met? Su Chen asked with some expectation. He wondered if that supernatural person had activated supernatural powers on the yellow-haired man. You mean my father, right? The yellow-haired man sniffled and said. My father. Su Chen was dumbfounded. Is it so kind? Shouldn't he be your biological father? Su Chen didn't know how to ask the question, so he said sideways. Yes, he is not my biological father. But if you say father, you will be the father for life. I call him father, then he is my father. This is a fate that cannot be changed. Father's love is like the sea, it is deep and difficult to understand. But just the day before yesterday, I beat my father with my own hands. I'm ashamed. What a shame. Father, my son will never face you again. While talking, the yellow-haired man stood up suddenly, and then rushed towards the artificial lake next to him. Su Chen stood there in a daze for 3 seconds before reacting. Want to commit suicide. At this time, the yellow-haired man was only 1 step away from jumping into the lake. No matter how fast Su Chen was, it was too late to stop him. At the last moment, with an idea, Su Chen instantly cancelled the moral ability cast on the yellow-haired man. The yellow-haired man also staggered and stopped at the edge of the artificial lake. What is this father doing? What the hell is Li Huan trying to seduce me? Okay, look, if I don't beat you today, your mother won't recognize you. The yellow-haired man turned around from the lake. His face was full of ferocity. He didn't look like Lei Feng before. Look at your sister, look. Watch me beat you to death. When turning around and passing Su Chen, the yellow-haired man cursed viciously again. Seeing this, Su Chen looked away, not intending to argue with the yellow-haired man at all. Because he heard clearly just now. This guy is going to find that supernatural being named Li Huan now. It's not all effortless, especially after seeing the wonderful effect of the combination of their abilities. Su Chen don't expect too much now. Follow the yellow-haired man all the way out of the school. Su Chen saw that he took a taxi and headed straight to the northern area of the Magic City. I looked around, and there was no second taxi around. Su Chen chopped the ground with the sole of his foot and shot it instantly. Although it was broad daylight, there were many people on the street. But few people paid much attention to Su Chen's sturdy speed. Awakening of abilities. This kind of scene has long been familiar to everyone. Even in their eyes, Su Chen's speed is simply not worth mentioning. Compared with the supernatural being named Fanfiction, it's like heaven and earth. However, if they knew that Su Chen was only relying on strength to push such a speed, I don't know what to think. This is also because Su Chen has selected all the strength attributes. If he used all the 30,000 attribute points for agility, the speed of that Fanfiction will also be instantly killed by Su Chen. After about half an hour, Su Chen finally saw the taxi ahead and stopped. After the yellow-haired man got out of the car, he walked directly to the west. Su Chen looked up. That is the 5th high school in the northern part of their Magic City. It looks like that supernatural being named Li Huan is also a high school student. Seeing that Huang Mao had stepped into the gate of 5th high school, Su Chen hurriedly followed. But while walking, Su Chen applied the power in his body to his face. In an instant, Su Chen's face twisted slightly, and immediately changed into another look. Su Chen naturally couldn't expose the fact that he could sign in a power in the awakening system. Just like what he told Chen Daqiang. Everyone is innocent, but pregnant is guilty. Even if he wanted to cooperate with Li Huan, it was only this time. If he found out about Su Chen's identity afterwards and went to their number 3 high school to find him, it would be bad. So Su Chen thought it would be better to change his appearance. After this, even if he managed to obtain the surveillance cameras in the school, he would not be able to find Su Chen. Wait, what are you doing? And just when Su Chen was about to enter the gate of 5th high school, the 2 security guards who were about to fall asleep suddenly asked vigilantly. Schools are always an important place for the country to cultivate talents. Even in today's era of the awakening of abilities, no one with abilities will be allowed to be presumptuous in places like schools. So the 2 security guards didn't care who came. As long as you are not a student of this school, you must verify your identity before you can be admitted. Then why don't you care when he goes in? Su Chen couldn't help but be taken aback when he saw this. When Huang Mao walked in just now, the 2 security guards didn't even fart. Looking along Su Chen's fingers, the 2 security guards could vaguely see Huang Mao's back. Then the 2 security guards cast a glance at Su Chen, and said calmly. That's our principal's son, we have nothing to stop him when we're full. Forehead. Hearing this, Su Chen couldn't help but a few black lines appeared on his forehead. It turns out that Huang Mao still has this kind of background, no wonder he is so arrogant. Are you a student of our school? If you're not a student of our school, leave quickly. The 2 security guards then spoke again. No. Su Chen replied, then turned and left directly. But, naturally, Su Chen wouldn't just leave like this. Go to the bottom of a school wall that is shaded by trees. Su Chen flipped into the school with a light leap. Turning his head left and right to identify the location, Su Chen raised his legs and walked towards the north. He remembered that Huang Mao was heading in that direction just now. After about 3 minutes, Su Chen finally found Huang Mao's figure again. At this time, he just walked out of a classroom. But he frowned, as if he hadn't found Li Huan. Su Chen was also a little confused. Is this guy reliable? My own father is the principal of this school, so it is so hard to find someone. But thinking of this, Su Chen couldn't help but smile. I'm afraid it's Huang Mao's father, who doesn't know about Li Huan asking Huang Mao to call him father. Otherwise, I'm afraid he would have been fired by Huang Mao's father long ago. Found it. At this moment, Su Chen looked at Huang Mao and suddenly said to himself. After Huang Mao answered a phone call, he began to walk towards the back of the teaching building. Seeing this, Su Chen moved his feet slightly. He followed silently. After a while, Su Chen followed Huang Mao's footsteps to the corner of a teaching building. Then a stubborn voice suddenly reached Su Chen's ears. Li Huan, if you ask me to call you dad again, I'll destroy you. Call dad. Dad, hey, good boy, I am going to kill you. Quote. 4 or 5 sloppy students blocked a somewhat short guy in the corner by the wall. Su Chen doesn't need to guess, he knows that it should be Li Huan. I see. At this moment, although he has a bruised nose and a swollen face, but the smile on his face is very bright, and those young people, while beating Li Huan violently, kept calling dad. Huang Mao has already walked up to several people at this moment. He picked up a brick and was about to slap Li Huan on the head. Seeing this, Su Chen dared to waste time, hastily focused his eyes, activated the ability and said, Moral abilities. Improve the moral concept hundreds of millions of times. Su Chen was afraid that if he didn't activate his ability again, this guy would really be beaten to death. Brother Chang, what are you doing? But after Su Chen activated his ability, the people who had been beating around Li Huan were stunned. Huang Mao suddenly knelt down on the ground with a plop. With tears in their eyes, they both said, Father, your son is late. You have suffered such a great humiliation. Immediately, Huang Mao turned his head to look at the young people next to him. We are classmates and close friends. A brother with the same father. But today, you hurt my father. This will be an eternal pain in my heart. I'm sorry, brothers, please accept my apology first. He listened to what Huang Mao said, and then watched Huang Mao bend down and bow to them. These people are completely confused. Brother Chang, what's wrong with you? A young man couldn't help asking with his eyes wide open. But what answered him was a pair of palms. Snapped. Huang Mao raised his right hand and waved it several times. There was a red slap mark on the faces of those young people. It looks like Huang Mao has exhausted his strength these few times. Zhang Chang, don't think that since your father is the principal, we dare not do anything to you. And those young people were also hurt. With a red neck, he roared. Huang Mao was unmoved when he heard the words, as if he wanted to teach his unfilial son a lesson for their common father. Seeing this, the young men finally couldn't stand it any longer. To be honest, they really didn't dare to do anything to the yellow hair. Okay, Zhang Chang, remember, our relationship has been concluded. Drop the harsh words. The few people turned around and left here directly. But Huang Mao didn't mean to let it go. With a plop, he knelt down in front of Li Huan again. Father, these brothers are rebellious. My son must let them come and kowtow to my father to admit his mistake. After speaking, Huang Mao got up, picked up the brick and chased him out. Am I dreaming? Li Huan looked at Huang Mao's back with a confused face. Finally couldn't help but burst out a foul language. Then, he stretched out his palm and wanted to slap himself, to make sure if it was a dream or not. Su Chen saw this, hastily stepped forward and reached out to grab Li Huan's palm. He was afraid that others didn't beat Li Huan to death, so he beat himself to death first. You are. I saw someone grabbing my wrist. Li Huan turned his head with some doubts. He frowned and looked at Su Chen, sure that he didn't know the person in front of him. I didn't help you just now, they really beat you to death. Su Chen didn't mean to be tricky, and said directly. Li Huan was stunned for a moment when he heard the words, and then his eyes widened suddenly. That guy Zhang Chang is so weird, it's all because you released the ability. Brother, what is your ability? It's so perverted. This is much better than my useless ability. Su Chen smiled inexplicably at Li Huan, and then slowly said. He became like that, to be precise, it's not my fault alone. Your ability is to make them call you dad. And my ability is to make them really treat you as a father. Do you really think of me as a father? Li Huan's eyes widened, and he began to recall the previous scene carefully. Huang Mao not only regarded him as his father just now, and he's still kind of filial. Li Huan had never seen Huang Mao be so filial to his principal's father. Then we two join forces. Isn't it possible to be the father of the whole world? And the kind that won't get beaten? After pondering for a moment, Li Huan suddenly said with burning eyes. Forehead. To be precise, it is like this. My supernatural ability can improve moral values billions of times, making any living beings love you more than their own father. But, don't you have any bigger ambitions? Su Chen's eyelids twitched slightly. Although he combined with Li Huan's abilities, it's not as perverted as when it was combined with Chen Daqiang. But it is definitely a unique existence. Just want everyone in the world to call him dad. Is this the lofty ambition of the skinny young man in front of him? Greater ambition. After hearing Su Chen's words, Li Huan also subconsciously repeated. After a while, Li Huan's eyes suddenly lit up. I thought of it. We can not only let them call us father, but also let them honor us. One person asked them to give us tens of thousands of dollars. Then we can become billionaires in the blink of an eye. Su Chen patted his forehead. It feels like I am playing the piano to the cow. Two people are not on the same channel at all. I said, big brother, now that the power is rising, don't you want to enter the beast realm? Seeing that the guidance failed, Su Chen went straight to the showdown. Enter the beast realm. Isn't it pure courting death for the two of us to enter the beast realm with this ability? Although death in the beast realm will not really kill you. But brother, I really don't have the tendency to be masochistic. Heard the words, Su Chen licked his lips and said, what if those ferocious beasts can also recognize you as their father? Is it the same as Wang Meio's performance just now? And, did you have a feeling just now? Even if you let Huang Mao die, Huang Mao will directly slap himself to death with a brick. Hearing Su Chen's repeated questions, Li Huan froze in place on the spot. Let the fierce beasts in the beast realm recognize him as their father. This was something he didn't even dare to think about before. Brother, is it really possible? Li Huan asked with some confusion. Su Chen shrugged when he heard the words, and directly assured Li Huan. We can go to the low-level beast realm to experiment first. Don't worry, under the A-level beast domain, I can guarantee that you will be fine. If our abilities can really be applied to ferocious beasts, isn't it easy to clear the level? Hearing Su Chen's words, Li Huan's eyes instantly became hot. Clear the customs. I heard that the last time the beast realm opened, two ruthless people cleared the level. Now I also have the opportunity to become such a ruthless person. Good. Done. I, Li Huan, want to be a hero. Seeing that Li Huan finally nodded in agreement, Su Chen couldn't help showing a gleam of joy on his face. Subsequently, he taught Li Huan the password for the last meeting again, and it was agreed that the two of them would enter the beast realm directly at 8:15 in the evening. After leaving No. 5 middle school, Su Chen went straight home to recharge her batteries. But halfway through, Hu Xiaoxiao sent him a message. Before Su Chen clicked on the message, I thought Hu Xiaoxiao wanted to talk to him about the night of burial of love again. Didn't realize, Hu Xiaoxiao actually wrote seriously. Su Chen, we are going to take the college entrance examination soon, you should make a good plan for your future. Although you don't have the ability to awaken, you can't apply for the School of Abilities. But life has to go on, boy. Don't be discouraged, come on. Look at the information on the phone. Su Chen seemed to have seen Hu Xiaoxiao cheering him on by waving his fists. But, this time, he was afraid that he would disappoint Hu Xiaoxiao's kindness. Because he didn't intend to apply for a normal university at all. Because he wants to apply for the School of Supernatural Abilities. Although Su Chen has the blessing of the system, his strength has far surpassed that of ordinary supernatural beings. However, Su Chen still doesn't know as much about supernatural powers and beast domains as those supernatural experts. And these supernatural experts are all teachers in the supernatural school. So, if Su Chen wants to learn more about the world of supernatural beings, then the supernatural school is his best choice. But there is still one day before the selection of the School of Supernatural Abilities, so Su Chen doesn't need to rush to sign up. At that time, it is completely too late to register directly on the spot. Then Su Chen set an alarm clock for 8 o'clock, and fell asleep with his head on his back. Arrived at 8 o'clock in the evening. Su Chen, who had been recuperating all afternoon, opened his eyes. To be honest, this time, can it cooperate with Li Huan's supernatural power to achieve a miraculous effect? Su Chen also had no idea. But so far, even if you try your best to challenge and fail, you will lose some of your physique. Su Chen has to try it too. Soon, the second hand at 8 o'clock officially slides by. An indifferent voice rang in Su Chen's ear again. The Beast Realm is on. Please choose whether to enter the Beast Realm or not. After the indifferent voice disappeared, Su Chen directly chose yes without hesitation. Next second, the familiar pulling force reappeared on Su Chen. But this time, Su Chen's interest suddenly faded. I want to see if my strength can withstand this pulling force. All the power in the body was condensed by Su Che in an instant. But at the moment of touching that pulling force, Su Chen's strength collapsed in an instant. This finally made Su Chen realize how terrifying is the power of the Beast Realm. Although the Beast Domain was displayed when rewarding attribute points, the attributes of all rewards are not directly related to the Beast Domain. It is a unique individual power belonging to supernatural beings. But I want to reach the level of competing with the Beast Domain. Su Chen suspects that this is simply impossible. As the pulling force of the Beast Domain came in full force, Su Chen restrained his thoughts, and his vision suddenly went dark. When sight is clear again, Su Chen saw the Beast Tower crawling on the endless land again. Even if you've seen it once, Su Chen still couldn't help but be shocked by the size of the Beast Tower. Even, Su Chen thinks, the Black Gate should be far from the end of this Beast Tower. In this Beast Tower that goes straight into the sky and does not see the top. I'm afraid I don't know how many higher-level beast realms exist. Then let me take a look. Where is your end point? In an instant, Su Chen was filled with arrogance. Then he licked his lips, and began to walk slowly towards the Beast Tower with fiery eyes. After about 2 minutes, Su Chen came to the wide entrance of the Beast Tower. But because every time you enter the Beast Tower, your appearance and voice will change. So, no one knows that Su Chen is the ruthless person who cleared the level last time. Certainly, it is not without constant marks in this Beast Realm. Although the appearance and voice will continue to change. But the title of supernatural being that everyone hides under their clothes will never change. Su Chen looked down at his left arm. His eyes also moved slightly. Before there is no absolute self-protection ability. His title must not be known casually. Kung Pao Chicken. At this moment, a mighty man suddenly leaned in front of him and asked with burning eyes. Su Chen was taken aback when he saw this. There is no way to connect the mighty and majestic man in front of him with Li Wansuo. He entered the Beast Realm twice, although his body shape has changed. But it hasn't changed so exaggeratedly. Li Huan's previous thin body was only 1.6 meters. And the hunk standing in front of him must be nearly 2 meters tall. And the whole body is muscular, so it's not bluffing. Oh, no, this is already the 13th. Seeing that Su Chen was stunned and did not answer, Li Huan sighed and turned to leave. Seeing this, Su Chen grabbed Li Huan with black lines on his forehead. Peking duck. Originally, he thought that Li Huan was simply a talent. He was able to find him at a glance among so many supernatural beings who were shuttling back and forth. Unexpectedly, he cast the net in a covered way and took the bait in a selective way. After asking more than a dozen people in succession, I finally found Su Chen. Wow, brother, I finally found an organization. After hearing Su Chen's secret signal, Li Huan grabbed Su Chen's arm excitedly. As if afraid that Su Chen would run away. Ah, let's go in quickly. Su Chen calmly withdrew the arm tightly held by Li Huan, and then spoke. Okay, let's go. Brother, I've been thinking about it all day today. Aren't they ferocious beasts? I want to be my father. While following Su Chen inside, Li Huan said domineeringly. Seeing Li Huan's confident appearance, Su Chen also had a gratified expression on his face. He was afraid that Li Huan would have some psychological pressure, which would cause him to be unable to concentrate, so that he would not be able to release his abilities. After a while, the two finally stepped into the familiar first floor of the Beast Tower. Su Chen looked around at the 7 cave entrances D, C, B, A, S, SS, and SSS. In the end, he set his sights on the D-level beast domain. Currently, for Su Chen and Li Huan, the most uncertain thing for them is whether these beasts have any moral values. As the saying goes, I have no morals, so you can't kidnap me. If these ferocious beasts have no morals, then even if Su Chen raised their moral values billions of times, the one who raised them in the end would still be loneliness. So Su Chen thinks it's better to start with the D-level beast domain first. The 50 or so fierce beasts in the D-level beast realm. Su Chen has self-confidence, even without relying on supernatural powers. They can also be beaten so that they cannot get up. That's it. After making the decision, Su Chen reached out and pointed to Li Huan. Okay, no problem, big brother. I listen to you. Li Huan has never been to the Beast Tower. Going into that hole didn't seem to make much difference to him. Immediately Su Chen no longer hesitated. He took Li Huan directly towards the entrance of the D-level beast domain. At this time, the entrance to the D-level beast domain is still empty. Most people also chose the C-level beast domain for the last time. This D-level beast domain does not even exist with dogs. However, tens of thousands of supernatural beings gathered on the first floor of the Beast Tower. But he just glanced at the backs of Su Chen and Li Huan, then looked away. After Tong Wu's incident, now no one with supernatural powers dares to look down on those who brush D-level beast domains. Because no one knows. Is it not enough strength to brush the D-level beast domain, or you still have to pass the level domineeringly? The other side, after Su Chen and Li Huan stepped into the cave entrance. It was sent to that enclosed space. It's different from last time. This time, there was an extra dark stone door. A ferocious beast with its eyes closed is also depicted on the stone gate. But it is different from other 7 colored doors. The ferocious beast depicted on the black gate gave people a feeling as if they were about to come alive. And the cruel meaning carried on it. It seems that they want to get out of Shimen and get directly into the bodies of Su Chen and Li Huan. Hiss. At this time, Su Chen is fine. When Li Huan saw it, he couldn't help but froze and shivered. Brother, the beast engraved on this door is too scary. Li Huan said with trembling lips. Seeing this, Su Chen couldn't help frowning. This is scary. This is just the lowest D-level beast domain. Li Huan couldn't hold it at this level. Shimen Li Huan from the SSS level beast domain is afraid that he will be scared to pee just by looking at it. But Su Chen didn't intend to say anything to comfort Li Huan. Because no amount of words would be as good as letting him see the combined power of the two of them. If their abilities are combined, they have no effect on the beast. Then they don't even have the qualifications to see the SSS level Animal Realm Stone Gate. On the contrary, if their combination of powers is useful to beasts, even if it is an SSS beast domain, Su Chen is confident to pass the level again. Brother, why don't we go to other stone gates first? I feel that the stone gate is more friendly to me. But Su Chen didn't expect it. Li Huan pondered for a while, then stretched out his finger and pointed aside. Su Chen looked along Li Huan's fingers, and the expression on his face immediately froze. The red stone gate. How can I be unfriendly to you? Red, orange, red, green, blue, blue, purple, black. Among the 8 stone gates, the red stone gate is the weakest, and the beasts on it are the least powerful. Li Huan naturally felt that the red stone gate was the one he dared to look directly at. But Su Chen naturally wouldn't enter the red stone gate with Li Huan. According to Su Chen's guess, only by clearing all the stone gates of the highest level can it be considered a customs clearance. If there is any level of beast realm, they didn't choose the strongest black gate. It shouldn't count as a clearance. Although there is no real reward for customs clearance. But Su Chen guessed that there should be some reward points. Certainly, the most important thing is that after clearing the level, it seems to be able to open a stronger beast realm. This is what really attracted Su Chen. After all, he was already 3 months behind. Now I want to catch up with other supernatural beings. Only challenging the strongest beast realm can speed up the progress. Think here. Su Chen turned his head to look at Li Huan, and said earnestly. Brother Li Huan, to tell you the truth, my time is numbered. Li Huan. Forehead. Seeing Li Huan's stunned expression, Su Chen continued. Actually, this may be the last time I enter the beast realm. Because I'm already at the terminal stage of cancer, I'm afraid I won't live long. I just want to enter the beast realm and get more crystals out, so that I can leave some money for the elders in the family. While talking, Su Chen was already in tears. Like this. Those who hear it are sad, and those who see it cry. Li Huan, who was standing next to him, couldn't hold back anymore. Brother, don't say anything. Go, let's go to that black door. It's scary just looking at it, the spar inside must be the most valuable. Talking, Li Huan took Su Chen's arm and led him directly towards the black gate. Su Chen half pushed and half agreed, and hurriedly changed his footsteps. In fact, Li Huan would never have dreamed of it. Su Chen's college elective in his previous life was acting. For him, this bit of acting skills is simply within his grasp. Of course, Su Chen cannot be blamed for deceiving Li Huan. Making him determined to enter the Black Gate is only one of Su Chen's goals. The most important reason is that he and Li Huan only have one day to cooperate. In this way, it can be regarded as completely cutting off Li Huan's idea of continuing to seek cooperation with Su Chen. I'm going to the grave soon, where are you going to find me? Under Li Huan's tough attitude, Su Chen also followed him into the black door. When the black stone door was closed, the fierce beast engraved on it instantly opened its scarlet eyes. After the sight of Su Chen and Li Huan became clear again. What appeared in front of the two of them was already a black swamp. In the swamp, more than 200 beasts with snake bodies and leopard heads stretched their bodies, spitting out their tongues at Su Chen and Li Huan. The number has increased so much. After Su Chen glanced over, he couldn't help but exclaimed in his heart. You must know that the last time he cleared the D-level purple gate, the number of beasts was only 50. Right now, the number of fierce beasts in the Black Gate is nearly 4 times that of the Purple Gate. Certainly, Su Chen was naturally not afraid of these 200 beasts. What he's really worried about is the SS and SSS ranks. The Black Gates in the 2 top beast domains. Has the number also skyrocketed? Tens of thousands of heads and then doubled several times. Couldn't that number break through the 100,000 mark? Hiss. Just as Su Chen was thinking. The more than 200 snake-bodied beasts have completely straightened their bodies. At this time, their snake bodies mixed with the black mud of the swamp may be more than 10 meters high. The size of each snake-bodied ferocious beast is probably equivalent to a small residential building. Seeing that they were about to attack, Su Chen hastily activated his ability. Moral superpowers, a billion-fold increase in morality. After finishing the silent recitation, Su Chen turned his head to look at the more than 200 snake-bodied beasts. It was a fierce beast that was about to charge towards Su Chen and the two of them. At this moment, it suddenly stopped for a moment. Has an effect. Seeing this, Su Chen couldn't help showing a hint of surprise on his face. He could see a trace of peace suddenly appeared in the 2 cold pupils of the snake-bodied beast. And soon, this peace occupied the entire eyeball of the beast. A billion-fold moral improvement. Even if these ferocious beasts only have a little sense of morality in their hearts, Su Chen can expand it countless times. Obviously, Su Chen made the right bet. These beasts have moral values. But it was just like his original guess. He has nothing to do with these beasts, so even the morality has been raised billions of times. At this moment, the eyes of those ferocious beasts have softened a lot. The attack still didn't stop. Because this is the idea engraved in the bones of those beasts in the beast domain. Kill all the supernatural beings who enter the beast realm, leaving no one behind. And if you want to break this idea, you need a stronger obsession. Li Huan, activate the ability. Seeing that those ferocious beasts had rushed over politely, Su Chen hurriedly turned his head and shouted. But when he turned around, Su Chen was a little dumbfounded. I saw Li Huan's legs trembling constantly. Eye sockets are also full of horror. Big brother, do you have any miserable experiences? Tell me more. I feel like I can't concentrate at all. Dot 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 dot. Su Chen was dumbfounded. He didn't notice at all. In fact, after stepping into this beast domain and seeing that terrifying snake-bodied beast, Li Huan was completely scared out of his wits. Now, not to mention concentrating on activating abilities. Even if he wanted to take 2 steps, his legs and feet couldn't control him. Seeing this, Su Chen lost his mind for a while. Now that the situation is so urgent, where would he go to make up a tragic story for Li Huan? Well, Su Chen sighed slightly. He could only quietly summon the red armor. Relying on the red patterned armor and his own strength attribute of more than 30,000 points, it shouldn't be a big problem to deal with this lowest level Hyman beast. But after that, now the number of beasts at the Black Gate far exceeded Su Chen's expectations. He also thought that he could rely on the red pattern armor and more than 30,000 strength attributes. It shouldn't be a problem to rush to the A-level beast realm. But now, the surge in the number of Hyman beasts. Su Chen felt that the B-level beast domain would be a hurdle for him. Not to mention that when Su Chen stepped into the beast tower, he thought he would pass the level just like last time. He glanced at Li Huan, who was trembling next to him again. Su Chen felt that after clearing the D-level beast domain, he must do some ideological work for him. But at this moment, a thought suddenly appeared in Su Chen's mind. Immediately, he couldn't help but patted his thigh. Yes, he had no more tragic stories to tell. But Li Huan himself is purely a tragic story. The era of awakening, what he awakened turned out to be such a useless ability. In his words, it is. Other people's supernatural abilities mean that they can't get any benefits at the very least. But his ability brought him all damage. Thinking of this, Su Chen immediately turned to Li Huan and asked, Huan, have you counted carefully after awakening the power? Originally, Li Huan was staring straight at the beast rushing towards them. When asked by Su Chen at this moment, he turned his head a little confused. Brother, what did you count? Counting how many seconds we have to be crushed by these beasts? Su Chen grinned when he heard the words. Without any regard for Li Huan's self-esteem, he said, after counting your awakening ability, how many times have you been beaten? Hearing Su Chen's words, Li Huan frowned instantly. There was even a moment when he immediately wanted to use his ability to make Su Chen call him daddy. Although he seems to be living heartlessly. Even if his nose is bruised and his face is swollen from the beating, let those people call him dad. But why? And not because they're all laughing at themselves. To have awakened such a useless ability. Whenever he heard such ridicule, Li Huan would use his abilities desperately. Let those who ridicule him call him daddy. Yes, your ability is amazing. Your ability is strong. Why don't you obediently call me dad? But when the crowd dispersed, only Li Huan himself was left behind with blue nose and swollen eyes. He remembers it clearly, while he was making the other guys who hit him call him daddy. The other onlookers looked at him with contempt in their eyes. Those people seemed to be laughing at him, and this kind of resistance was completely meaningless. It's just an extra slap on the face. But what else can I do besides doing this? Even if the whole body's bones are broken. I want to be your father too. Li Huan trembled, and suddenly raised his head and shouted angrily. Su Chen has been watching Li Huan's mood swings. At this moment, he looked up and shouted angrily. Su Chen laughed. The smile is very bright. He turned his head to look at the 200 ferocious beasts that were less than 20 meters away from them. At this moment, the ferocious beasts had already stopped abruptly. All eyes fixed on Li Huan. Hiss, hiss. Those ferocious beasts stared straight at Li Huan, and kept making shrill screams. It's like calling dad. Tears the size of fists fell from the eyes that were originally devoid of emotion. Then, something that shocked Su Chen even more happened. I saw the bodies of those snake-bodied beasts suddenly crawling down. They rolled over on their stomachs. It seems that he is acting like a baby to Li Huan. Su Chen has seen women acting like a baby. It's not like he hasn't seen a man acting like a baby. But he never dreamed that there would be a day. You can see ferocious beasts acting like a baby. Is this the power of moral kidnapping? Su Chen couldn't help clicking his tongue. He had heard many tragic stories about moral kidnapping before. On the bus, a girl had a terminal cancer diagnosis certificate in her bag. At the last moment of life, she just wants to lean against the car window quietly and appreciate the city and the world one last time. But an aunt who didn't have a seat asked her to give up her seat. And indiscriminately, he blamed the girl who refused to give up her seat. In the end, the girl did not give up her seat to the aunt. However, the aunt's moral kidnapping made her completely disappointed in this world. When the bus arrived, she walked straight towards the beach. Originally, she still had 3 months to live, but she ended it prematurely by herself. When hearing this story for the first time, Su Chen thought it was just the aunt who was too hateful. As for morality and immorality, it doesn't rise to this level at all. And how powerful can moral kidnapping be? Now, Su Chen looked at the more than 200 beasts all lying on the ground. Thoroughly realized the power of moral kidnapping. Just because Su Chen raised their moral values by billions of times. Just because they want to call Li Huan's father. Even this group of inhuman beasts are now prostrate in front of the two of them. Even let the two need. But, if this matter gets out, no one will believe it. The two of Su Chen unexpectedly kidnapped the fierce beast in the beast realm. If this is known, it will definitely be on the front page of tomorrow's international news. Brother, what shall we do next? The other side. Li Huan finally reacted. I saw him staring at the ominous beast lying on the ground in front of him with scorching eyes. Where do you think about humiliation or humiliation? If you can clear the beast domain, you will get crystals to improve your attributes. Then even if he doesn't rely on supernatural powers, he can make those guys call him dad. And he still used his fists to force them to shout out of conviction. Maybe it's up to you. Su Chen pondered for a moment, then said to Li Huan meaningfully. By myself. Li Huan was taken aback when he heard this. Obviously did not understand the meaning of Su Chen's words. Su Chen pointed to the group of ferocious beasts, and then pointed to him. You remember that yellow hair? Before, I helped him improve his morality by 1 billion times. He wanted to commit suicide just because he did something sorry to you. And now, we just want to make these beasts feel sorry for you. Then, let them end themselves. Li Huan nodded, half understood when he heard the words, and then began to think. Seeing this, Su Chen didn't bother him either. In fact, he had a way, but he didn't know if it would be too cruel for Li Huan. After all, these ferocious beasts now regard him as their own father. Let Li Huan fool them into committing suicide. This is indeed a bit of moral depravity. And over there, Li Huan frowned and thought for a few minutes. In the end, I couldn't think of any way to do it. Brother, I really don't know how to make them feel sorry for me. Do you have any good ideas? Seeing this, Su Chen pursed his lips. Not to mention the loss of morality. He pulled Li Huan closer, and then blurted out a lot in his ear. At first, Li Huan still had a puzzled expression on his face. But thinking about Su Chen's words, Li Huan's eyes became brighter and brighter. Brother, what a way. Don't worry, my acting skills are definitely fine. Finally, Li Huan patted his chest and bowed. However, seeing Li Huan's appearance, Su Chen couldn't help but blurted out and asked. You really have no psychological burden. They really regard you as their own father now. Hearing this, Li Huan gave Su Chen a weird look. Then, say something that Su Chen will never forget. They treat me like a father. But I didn't treat them as my sons. Chapter 31. Good guy. Su Chen turned to look at Li Huan. He turned his head and looked at the group of well-behaved beasts. At this moment, in Su Chen's eyes, the two formed a stark contrast. They perfectly explained to Su Chen what it means. I am 1 billion times more moral, even if the person standing opposite is not my own father. I still have great respect for him. On the other side is. Even if the other side calls me dad 10,000 times, then he's not my real son. I have no morals, so no one can kidnap me. Dot 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 dot. Brother, what's the problem? At this moment, Su Chen was staring at him. Li Huan couldn't help but wondered. Su Chen hurriedly shook his head upon hearing this. No problem at all. He was just afraid that Li Huan would have some psychological burden. Now that he has said so, then Su Chen naturally has no problem at all. Okay, then I'll start. Li Huan rubbed his hands for a while, and then walked a few steps ahead. Su Chen, on the other hand, carefully observed the reactions of the group of ferocious beasts with great interest. Oh, my son, today may be the last time Dad sees you. There is a group of people outside waiting to kill Dad. Father is really too weak. He is not their opponent at all. I wanted to come to this beast realm to try my luck, but I didn't expect to encounter a scene where our father and son killed each other. Farewell, dear sons, Daddy won't hurt you. Now I'm going out and fighting those guys that I can't win no matter what. When he mentioned the words, I can't win no matter what, Li Huan even emphasized his tone. Originally, Su Chen didn't have high expectations for Li Huan's acting skills. But look now. This is a proper actor-level acting skill. Even the Golden Rooster Award, Li Huan has to owe a trophy for Best Actor. But can those beasts understand Li Huan's words? Su Chen turned his head to look at the group of ferocious beasts, seeming suspicious. And it doesn't matter if you don't look at it, Su Chen was immediately stunned when he saw it. I saw the tears in the eyes of the group of ferocious beasts continuously falling down. All of a sudden, the ground under their feet was completely soaked with tears. Immediately afterwards, the group of ferocious beasts suddenly straightened their bodies. They rushed towards Li Huan quickly. Seeing this, Su Chen couldn't help clenching his fists. The red tattoo also appeared on his skin in an instant. But looking at the fierce beast that was about to rush in front of Li Huan, he still didn't make a move in the end. He didn't think these beasts wanted to hurt Li Huan. After all, those ferocious beasts weeping bitterly did not look like they were staged at all. Hiss. But with Su Chen's dazed effort, the group of beasts had already approached Li Huan. I saw the group of fierce beasts with their huge heads lowered, rubbing against Li Huan's body affectionately. Seeing this scene, Su Chen couldn't help squinting his eyes. Because from the group of ferocious beasts, he seemed to see a hint of farewell. Now they are acting as if they are saying goodbye to Li Huan. Do these beasts really understand what Li Huan said earlier? Su Chen slightly raised his eyebrows and said in surprise. But soon, Su Chen denied his own idea. What he improved was the morality of these ferocious beasts, not the IQ of billions of times. Judging from the previous performance of some fierce beasts, their IQ is definitely not too high. Could it be? They can feel Li Huan's emotions. Even feel the meaning emanating from his emotions. After negating one idea, another idea immediately popped up in Su Chen's mind. It is said that mother and child are connected. Now it is not too far-fetched to say that Li Huan has a heart-to-heart relationship with these ferocious fathers and sons. Certainly, it's just that the group of fierce beasts are connected with Li Huan and his son. Because Li Huan does not have the blessing of hundreds of millions of times morality. Obviously, he didn't have much feeling for these ferocious beasts. Even at this moment when the group of ferocious beasts rubbed their heads on him affectionately, the expression on his face was still extremely awkward. From time to time, he turned his head and looked at Su Chen for help. In this regard, Su Chen can only express his helplessness. Now the group of fierce beasts seemed to be saying their final farewell to Li Huan. But Su Chen was still skeptical. After all, these ferocious beasts felt the emotion that Li Huan just said. Or did they sense Li Huan's heart and wanted to kill them? If it's the former, that's fine. If it's the latter, then this hundreds of millions of times moral improvement is too scary. It turned out that it was only because of his father's idea of wanting to die. He will die without hesitation. Hiss. At this moment, a hissing sound not far away interrupted Su Chen's thoughts. Seeing this, Su Chen hurriedly turned his head to look. I saw that the 200 beasts had already stood 500 meters away from Li Huan. They gave Li Huan one last look, then suddenly raised his head and neighed. Both Su Chen and Li Huan stared blankly at the scene in the distance. The neighing sound had echoed throughout the swamp at this moment. And this scene didn't last long. In just 7 or 8 seconds, those snake-bodied monsters suddenly exploded. The rain of blood fell from the sky in the swamp, and the picture was bloody and beautiful. Looking at this scene, Su Chen didn't feel much emotion. But he was worried that Li Huan would not be able to accept it. After all, it was raining blood all over the sky. But those ferocious beasts fell for him. Turning his head, Su Chen wanted to comfort Li Huan. But, Su Chen stared at the picture in front of him, and was immediately stunned. I saw that Li Huan looked a little bit sad. He was looking at the 6 black crystals floating in the air not far away with excitement. At the same time, an indifferent voice also echoed in their ears. Congratulations to the supernatural being for successfully clearing the level D beast realm. The 6 black crystals floated to the front and back of the 2 of them, and then they were divided into 3 pieces each. Su Chen has seen many amethyst spar, but this is the first time he has seen this black spar. So he held a black spar in his hand and couldn't help playing with it. The black crystal gave Su Chen an unusually cold feeling. In particular, the letter D engraved inside the spar is as deep as the sea. Looking at it at a glance, it seems as if it wants to swallow people's sight. The eyes have become so cool. After Su Chen stared at the letter D for a few seconds, he suddenly felt a sense of comfort born around his eye sockets. He didn't expect this piece of black crystal to be so effective. It seems that the beasts in the black gate are much stronger than the beasts in the purple gate. But the value of this black crystal is probably not comparable to that of purple crystal. Su Chen was surprised and said to himself, the sum of the amethysts obtained from clearing the purple gate previously has increased Su Chen's attributes by more than 30,000. If he can still clear the level this time, then his attributes will definitely more than double again. His current physique, it is no longer comparable to ordinary supernatural beings. If it is doubled, then Su Chen is relying on his physical body without relying on any supernatural powers. I also have the confidence to fight against powerful supernatural beings like Thor and Vulcan. Brother, shall we challenge other beast domains again? At this moment, Li Huan was staring at the black crystal in his hand. His expression was also extremely excited. Obviously he also realized the preciousness of the black crystal in his hand. Okay, let's go, Su Chen responded when he heard the words, and then the 2 stepped out of the D-level beast domain one after another. When returning to the first floor of the Dao Beast Tower again. At this time, there were not many people on the first floor of the Beast Tower. Su Chen looked around for a week, and finally set his sights on the SSS level Beast Realm. Naturally, the ones that interested him the most were SSS and SS Beast domains. The strength of these 2 levels of Beast domains is obviously much higher than that of other Beast domains. But the harvest is also directly proportional to it. The amethyst obtained by Su Chen in a beast realm at SSS level last time. The value is more than all other beast domains combined. So Su Chen pondered for a while. Decided to challenge the SSS level beast domain first. Brother, let's go in. I can't wait. Li Huan was already in a difficult mood at this time. He pulled Su Chen's arm and walked in a certain direction. But just as he took a step, Su Chen dragged him back. We don't challenge the sea-level beast domain, we will challenge this one next. Hearing this, Li Huan pulled his eyes back from the entrance of the stone cave in the sea-level beast realm. Then he looked in the direction of Su Chen's finger. Immediately afterwards, Li Huan was stunned for 5 seconds before swallowing and saying, Brother, are you kidding me? This is an SSS level beast realm. Although I have never been to the beast tower before. But I also know that the SSS level beast domain is an extremely terrifying place. Except for 2 ruthless people who cleared the level last time, it is said that no one in the world can clear the SSS level beast realm. Can we do it? Seeing Li Huan's unsure look, Su Chen raised his finger and pointed at the D-level beast domain. What do you think is the difference between these 2 beast domains? Li Huan was taken aback when he heard the words, obviously not understanding what Su Chen meant. But he subconsciously replied, the difference between these 2 beast domains is too great. Whether it is the number of beasts or the strength of the beasts, they are not at the same level at all. Su Chen nodded. Good. Both the number and strength represent the combat effectiveness of the ferocious beasts of the SSS level beast domain, far exceeding the D level beast domain. But, are we going to fight the beasts in the SSS level beast realm? Hearing Su Chen's words, the expression on Li Huan's face froze obviously. The next second, he suddenly patted his thigh. Yes, we don't fight with them. So what if you can fight fierce beasts in the SSS level beast realm? Su Chen and Li Huan looked at each other and smiled. A certain consensus was reached in an instant. They are going to recognize their son. It's not for fighting. No matter how strong those beasts are, they have nothing to do with them. After figuring this out, the expression on Li Huan's face suddenly became relaxed. Immediately, the two of them no longer hesitated, and directly stepped into the entrance of the SSS level beast realm. When the enclosed space reappeared in the sight of the two, Su Chen immediately turned his head and looked to the far right. Next to the purple stone gate, there is also a black stone gate exuding gloom. Brother, is this a human or a beast? Li Huan stared at the pattern on the stone gate, and couldn't help shouting. With the experience of the previous D-level beast domain, Li Huan already knew that the corresponding ominous beast on the stone gate was the ominous beast they would face after stepping into the stone gate. But now on the black stone gate in front of the two of them, the engraving is not a fierce beast at all, but a woman. Exactly, she is a strange woman with wings and an extremely delicate face. This should also be a fierce beast, but it looks a bit like a human. Su Chen patted Li Huan on the shoulder and comforted him. The beast realm is the beast realm. All the monsters that appear in the beast domain can be resurrected infinitely without any memory. Even if it looks a little like a human, it is definitely not human. But I originally planned to come to recognize my son. It seems that I can't recognize my son, I can only recognize a group of daughters. Su Chen smiled. Haha, big brother, your thinking is absolutely brilliant. Originally, Li Huan felt a little nervous. After Su Chen made such a joke, Li Huan immediately relaxed. Immediately, the two of them stopped hesitating, raised their legs and stepped into the stone gate. Buzz, accompanied by a slight tinnitus. The space in front of the two of them suddenly opened up. Wow, brother, is this hell? After seeing the scene in front of him clearly, Li Huan couldn't help clicking his tongue. I saw that the whole sky was gray at this time. The ground under their feet was glowing with a black luster like death. And in front of them, there are countless stone statues standing there. Su Chen rough estimate, the number of stone statues that appeared in their sight was probably close to 100,000. And although the stone statue looks a little stiff, but Su Chen and Li Huan recognized each other at a glance. Isn't this the fierce beast with the appearance of a woman engraved on the black door earlier? Crack, crack, just when Su Chen and Li Huan were in a daze, a series of crisp sounds suddenly sounded. Seeing this, Su Chen and Li Huan turned their heads to look at the same time. I saw that the stone statue opened its eyes at this moment, and a pair of wings like a dark angel grew out of its back. Immediately afterwards, their feet were suspended from the ground, and their right hands pointed high towards the sky. Su Chen and Li Huan were both taken aback when they saw this. Then they looked up in the direction of the stone statue's fingers. I saw the gray sky above. At this moment, a full moon suddenly appeared. The light of the full moon poured down, all gathered on the right hand of the stone beast. This is the dragon of the black moon, the dragon claw of Andremosa. At this moment, Su Chen suddenly exclaimed. Hearing this, Li Huan looked at Su Chen with some doubts. Dragon claw? What kind of dragon claw? Obviously there is only the moon. Su Chen turned his head and glanced at Li Huan, then turned his gaze to the full moon. He had seen the same scene from an ancient book. These stone statues are obviously using the power of the moon. And that is not actually a moon, its body is a dragon claw. The dragon claw of the black dragon Andersamor. This is the famous dragon of darkness in the west. It is said that it can single out the entire group of dragons by itself. Li Huan, quick, activate the ability. Seeing that the 100,000 stone statues had put down their right hands, they looked towards them. Su Chen hurriedly opened his mouth and shouted. If the battle is not resolved quickly, they might not even know how they died. Okay, Li Huan hurriedly responded when he heard the words, and then immediately activated the ability. But, at this time, both Li Huan and Su Chen had no confidence in their hearts. Because this stone statue is not like a man, and a beast is not like a beast. Who knows if they have any moral values? Abba. And just after Li Huan activated his ability, the movements of the group of stone statues suddenly stopped. And the corners of his mouth opened and closed, and he yelled out 2 words. Looking at the picture in front of him, Su Chen's face suddenly revealed a gleam of joy. These stone statues can be driven by supernatural powers. Brother, why do I feel the way they look at me? It seems that you can't wait to kill me right away. Li Huan was stared at by 100,000 stone statues. Immediately said with some scalp numbness. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be like this. Nonsense, I haven't released the ability yet. You let them call you daddy, don't they want to kill you? Brother, don't play with me. Quickly release the ability. Li Huan saw that the stone statues had begun to move. Immediately shouted anxiously. Su Chen gave Li Huan a calm look. Then immediately meditated in my heart. Moral powers. Improve morality hundreds of millions of times. In the next second, Su Chen turned his head to look at those stone statues, and immediately beamed with joy. Works. I saw the countless stone statues still looking straight at Li Huan. But this time, what leaked out of their eyes was no longer endless killing intent. Lime-gray tears rolled from the corners of their eyes. Immediately, the 100,000 stone statues all bent their knees and knelt down in the direction of Li Huan. Boom! The ground seemed to tremble violently at this moment. It seems to be telling the power of this kneeling. Abba. Immediately afterwards, the 2 familiar words blurted out from their mouths again. This seemed to be what Dad meant in their consciousness. Brother, we succeeded, and we succeeded again. Seeing this scene, Li Huan finally couldn't help shouting excitedly. This is an SSS level beast realm. Can make the fierce beast here recognize him as a father. The joy it gave him is naturally not comparable to that of AD level beast domain. And the rewards for clearing the 2 are one in the sky and the other in the earth. Ah Huan, let's start. Seeing the successful coordination of the abilities, Su Chen also had a joyful expression on his face. But now is not the time to be really happy. They have to make this group of SSS level beasts commit suicide too. Good. Li Huan nodded heavily upon hearing this. Then he took a step forward and sat down on the ground with a plop. Daughters, it's useless to be dad. Father is now facing a group of enemies that are impossible to defeat. Quote. The screen that once appeared in the D-level beast domain once again appeared in this SSS level beast domain. Seeing Li Huan crying, the group of stone beasts started crying too. Not long, Su Chen heard a burst of crash clatter, like the sound of a small river flowing. That's right, the tears of these more than 100,000 ferocious beasts dripped on the ground and gathered together. It turned into a flowing river. If this scene is seen by others, they will definitely be dumbfounded. This is the top beast in the SSS level beast domain. How could you just give in like that? Is there any reason? Is there any reason? They were all tortured in the S-level beast realm, and their lives were worse than death. Su Chen and Li Huan are on good terms. Facing the SSS level beast, he couldn't help but hit it. Buzz. And as Li Huan cried out, the mood swings of the group of stone beasts became more and more intense. Finally, Li Huan sighed, and was about to turn around and walk outside. It seems that he is determined to face the group of guys that he can't beat. At this moment, a familiar, Abba, sounded from behind Li Huan again. Immediately, Su Chen and Li Huan saw countless stone beasts. Suddenly stretched out the right hand of Obsidian Jiji. This. Look at the power condensed on the right hand of the stone statue. Su Chen and Li Huan were stunned. These stone statues are still planning to attack them. Brother, did they see through my acting skills? It shouldn't be. I lied to my mother for money when I was a child, but every time I cheated, I was sure. Su Chen shook his head upon hearing this, expressing that he was a little confused about the current situation. However, the red-patterned armor and all the strength of the body have been mobilized by Su Chen at this moment. But facing the 100,000 ferocious beasts in this SSS level beast domain, Su Chen really couldn't arouse the slightest desire to fight. Relying on his current strength, it is somewhat difficult to forcibly challenge the fierce beasts in the S-level beast realm. Not to mention the 100,000 powerful beasts in this SSS beast realm. Brother, let's run away. It feels like something's wrong. Li Huan's body was already trembling at this moment. Not far away, the power gathered by 100,000 ferocious beasts at this time is really terrifying. If this force fell on them, it would destroy them in an instant. Oh, where are you going? Entering this beast realm, you can only pass the level successfully, or fail to clear the level. Su Chen shook his head slightly when he heard the words. It seems that this time he and Li Huan were careless. This ferocious beast in the SSS level beast domain is not obedient at all. Even in the face of a billion-fold increase in morality. Even facing their Lao Su. Still chose to shoot. When Su Chen thought of the price of failing to clear the customs, he felt a little frustrated. The black crystal obtained by clearing the D-level beast domain is not enough to compensate for the price of his weakened physique. Entering the beast tower this time, he is afraid that he will lose everything. Wait, brother, look, they don't seem to be attacking us. At this moment, Li Huan's exclamation suddenly interrupted Su Chen's thoughts. Su Chen hurriedly turned his head to look at the words. I saw the 100,000 ferocious beasts holding their right hands high. He even pointed his finger at the black moon in the sky. The picture in front of you. It really made Su Chen and Li Huan a little confused. They can't figure it out at all. Why do these stone statues have the desire to attack that black moon? Bang, bang. At this time, the sound of explosions suddenly sounded. Seeing this, Su Chen stopped thinking about it, and looked straight ahead. I saw the group of stone beasts. At this time, they exploded one by one. In less than a few seconds of breathing time, the more than 100,000 stone statues in front of him were all annihilated into ashes. All of a sudden, Su Chen and Li Huan couldn't see the scene in front of them clearly. All I could see was the endless haze that filled the sky. Su Chen and Li Huan looked at each other, not knowing what to do next. It stands to reason that those fierce beasts blew themselves up, so they should have successfully passed the level. But now there is no sound of any customs clearance reminder. Simply unable to figure it out, the two stood in place without moving. Just staring straight ahead. About half a minute passed. The ashes finally dispersed some. Seeing this, Su Chen and Li Huan hurriedly looked forward. And that doesn't matter. Upon seeing it, Su Chen and Li Huan were completely dumbfounded. I saw a very tall one. A stone statue with a height of hundreds of floors is standing not far from the two of them. She has a delicate face, flapping the wings behind her, like the most perfect dark angel. Abba! The stone statue leaned over to look at Li Huan, who was as big as an ant, and called out softly. Seeing this, Su Chen moved slightly. From the eyes of the tall stone statue, what he saw was the endless meaning of farewell gathered together. Are you still going to commit suicide? But why is it so troublesome? Seeing this, Su Chen couldn't help talking to himself. Since they are all going to commit suicide, why not just commit suicide? They have to gather together into such a tall stone statue first, and then choose to commit suicide. Is it easier to commit suicide like this? It stands to reason not. The ferocious beasts in the D-level beast domain can easily self-destruct. If this ferocious beast of the SSS level beast domain wants to explode itself, it should be easier. On the other side, in Su Chen's dazed effort, the extremely tall stone statue turned its gaze to look at the black moon in the sky. There is an unquestionable firmness in the farewell eyes. Immediately afterwards, a paragraph of words that Su Chen could not understand at all. It blurted out from the mouths of those stone statues. Are they talking to that black moon? Su Chen murmured in a daze. That's right, brother. They want that black moon to hand over the black dragon's claw. At this time, Li Huan, who was next to him, suddenly spoke. Su Chen turned to look at Li Huan, and said with some doubts. Can you understand what they say? Li Huan nodded heavily upon hearing this. Yeah, I can understand. Su Chen glanced at Li Huan, and couldn't help turning his gaze to the huge stone statue not far away. It seems that it made Li Huan understand what it said. But what completely moved Su Chen was those 100,000 stone statues gathered into such a tall stone statue. The purpose is to ask for the black dragon's claw. And it seems that if Heiyu doesn't hand it over, this stone statue will fight it endlessly. Tisk tisk. The morality has improved by 1,000,000,000 times, it is absolutely amazing. Su Chen couldn't help clicking his tongue at this moment. From the farewell in the eyes of the stone statue before, to their behavior of asking for the black dragon claw now. Su Chen has completely understood. Whether it was the ferocious beast of the D-level beast domain before, or the fierce beast of the SSS level beast domain at the moment. They didn't understand what Li Huan said at all. Because Li Huan didn't have any power at all to make them understand. But they seem to be able to feel Li Huan's heart. That is, only if they are dead can Li Huan pass the level successfully. And now, even if they know that Li Huan is not in any danger, they just want to simply let them die. But they still chose to ask for the black dragon's claw from the black moon in the sky when they were dying. Purpose: just to let their father live better. This is not a matter of revenge with virtue. This is taking his life to pave a broad road for his father. It is said that the love of parents for their children is unspoken. Parents are willing to sacrifice themselves for their children. Looking at the scene in front of him, Su Chen just wanted to ask. Who says a son won't give everything for his parents? Buzz. While Su Chen's thoughts were racing, not far away, one after another buzzing sound has been thought of. Su Chen hurriedly turned his head to look at the sound. I saw the stone statue looking at the black moon in the sky with cold eyes. They too. It seems that the talk has collapsed. Around the towering stone statue, traces like spider webs emerged out of thin air. You can find it if you look closely. That turned out to be the black marks caused by the rupture of the space around it. No doubt, the stone statue has used its power to the extreme. Seeing this scene, Su Chen hurriedly pulled Li Huan to retreat 1,000 meters away. If this is affected by the power of the stone statue, even if it was a little bit, the two brothers would be killed instantly. Fortunately, this dark land is endless. No matter how far Su Chen and Li Huan retreat, they will not retreat to the end. When I feel back to a safe distance, Su Chen and Li Huan hurriedly looked up at the stone statue in the distance. I saw the stone statue holding its right hand high. A black light that seemed to swallow everything, condensed between its palms. This is the power of the black dragon's claw bestowed by that round of black moon, combined with the power of the stone statue itself. It's just that Heiyu wouldn't even think of dying. It empowers the stone statue, and the stone statue turns its head on it. Su Chen imagined himself as that black moon, and felt that he could die of depression. Buzz. At this moment, the stone statue finally started. I saw that black light, like the most terrifying force in the world, suddenly bombarded towards the black moon. And that black moon seemed to be angry too, accompanied by a shrill dragon cry. Under the stunned expressions of Su Chen and Li Huan, a dragon claw exuding infinite terrifying power. It actually stretched out directly from the black moon. The whole body of the dragon claws is covered with the color of Haiyao. But above Haiyao, Su Chen and Li Huan could still see a little bit of golden markings. At this moment, both of them held their breath. He looked straight into the air. After a while, the black dragon claw finally collided with the black light blasted by the stone statue. At this moment, the space seemed to tremble. Su Chen and Li Huan staggered and almost fell to the ground. After the two stabilized their figures, they hurriedly raised their heads to look at the sky. Can't beat. I can't beat it at all. He saw that the black dragon claw was actually pinching the black light, as if trying to pinch it to burst. Both Su Chen and Li Huan couldn't help being stunned. That black dragon claw is so powerful. The power gathered by 100,000 ferocious beasts in the SSS level beast domain is no match for it at all. Wrong. It's not right. At this moment, Su Chen turned his gaze to the stone statue. Suddenly he opened his mouth and murmured. There was no fear on the face of the tall stone statue. There was only an expression of extreme calm, even if they are not afraid of death. But now the expression on this face, it really made Su Chen a little strange. Could it be? Su Chen pondered slightly, and suddenly thought of a possibility. Then he turned to look at the stone statue. Really? I saw the terrifying throbbing around him. It seems to know that with its own strength, it cannot be the opponent of Black Moon and Black Dragon's Claw. Really let it have the confidence to kill Heiyu and Black Dragon Claw. It is the power generated by its own self-explosion. When Su Chen was moved, the stone statue looked down tenderly at where Li Huan was. Immediately, Su Chen and Li Huan saw a gray mask suddenly appeared around their bodies. It seemed that the stone statue was protecting the two of them. Protect its father and his father's friends. Su Chen and Li Huan didn't have time to think at this time. Then heard a towering violent explosion sounded. Su Chen looked up, and saw that everything in the distance was ravaged and turned into ashes. The space seemed to be exploded into nothingness. And that black moon was also covered under ashes. People can't see its appearance at all. Terrifying fluctuations swept over. The gray covering around Su Chen and Li Huan perfectly protected them from any damage. Certainly, the two are most concerned about the main battlefield not far away. They didn't know whether the self-detonating power of the stone statue could bring lethality to He Yu. Because this level of fighting has completely exceeded the cognition of the two of them. Even now is the era of the rise of abilities. Some videos of supernatural beings fighting posted on the internet. It's just that you hit me with a power, and I hit you with a power. There is no such feeling as before. The power to collapse the world. How long will it take for the supernatural being to improve? To reach such a terrifying situation? Su Chen couldn't help but sighed in a low voice. No doubt, with the existence of Beast Domain, the current supernatural beings are still like newborn babies, weak and vulnerable. But with the continuous opening of the Beast Tower, the number of supernatural beings continues to increase. Someday, countless people with supernatural powers all over the world will usher in the day when they will advance by leaps and bounds. But at this moment, Su Chen has obviously come to the forefront of many supernatural beings. Although he arrived a full 3 months late, but his progress crushed all the supernatural beings. Just ask. Now who can face a battle of the level of an SSS level Black Gate? Even compared with the Black Door, the Purple Door is more than one level behind. It seems that the abilities rewarded by the system are not so useless. At the very least, if you find a good partner, the effect will be outrageous. Su Chen pursed his lips and sighed. Brother, look. The ashes are going to disperse. Beside him was Li Huan, who had been staring closely at the front. At this moment, he suddenly spoke. Hearing this, Su Chen turned his head to look, only to see the ashes dissipating little by little. Curiosity had involuntarily appeared on Su Chen's face. Did the statue win? Black Moon still won. Under the eager gaze of Su Chen and Li Huan, the ashes finally dissipated completely. When the two saw the scene in front of them clearly, the expression on his face froze in an instant. I saw the tall stone statue standing in the sky and earth before, but now it has disappeared. And the black moon in the sky suddenly disappeared. But sharp-eyed Su Chen found out. The distance already seems to be in a void space. There is also something floating. Dragon finger. 2 dragon fingers. The stone statue has been completely destroyed. Black moon and black dragon claw also disappeared without a trace. These 2 dragon fingers remained. This is enough to show how hard these 2 dragon fingers are. Congratulations to the supernatural being for successfully clearing the SSS level Beast Realm. Congratulations to the supernatural being for successfully completing the hidden mission. Get the hidden reward, Black Dragon Finger. At this moment, an indifferent voice rang in the ears of Su Chen and Li Huan. Hidden mission. Then Black Moon turned out to be a hidden mission. Hear the second sentence. Su Chen's eyes suddenly widened. Even if he has enough strength to shake the previous stone statue. But he was afraid that he would never have thought that there would be a hidden mission. What shocked him even more was that stone statue actually helped them, and even completed this hidden mission. Regardless of whether the stone statue was intentional or not, Su Chen felt that his luck was not so good at the moment. If you change to any other ability, even the invincible ability that he and Chen Daqiang combined before would definitely not be able to complete this hidden task. Because he could only change the name of those stone statues to Zhong San. It would never have occurred to change the name of that black moon. Brother, 8 crystals, 8 crystals. At this time, Li Huan's exclamation suddenly interrupted Su Chen's thoughts. Hearing this, Su Chen turned his head to look. Sure enough, they saw 8 SSS level black crystals floating towards them not far away. You must know that the higher the level of the beast domain, the less spar will explode. When Su Chen cleared the SSS level purple gate before, only 4 SSS level amethysts burst out. But this time, the hymen, which is of a higher level than the purple gate, suddenly exploded with 8 crystals. Rao is Su Chen. There was a hint of excitement on his face. This reward is simply not too generous. Etc. There are dragon fingers. The surprise on Su Chen's face has not yet spread. Then I saw 2 dragon fingers exuding the color of black glory floating towards them together. After half the payment, Longji floated in front of the 2 of them together with 8 SSS grade black crystals. Brother, let's split it up. Li Huan looked in front of him and said impatiently. Su Chen nodded, then looked at the 2 dragon fingers. Obviously, the reward for this hidden mission is worth more than any piece of SSS black crystal. But for Su Chen, what he values more is the 8 SSS grade black crystals. Because of the customs clearance of the beast domain, there is also a double reward increase of the system. At this moment, in the system space, there are 16 pieces of SSS grade black crystals floating in full. Besides, a complete black dragon claw. There are only 2 dragon fingers in front of him, but the system directly doubles the reward, giving Su Chen a complete black dragon claw. So Su Chen looked at those 2 black dragon fingers and completely lost any desire. 2 dragon fingers are compared with a complete dragon claw. The power is afraid that one is in the sky and the other is on the ground. This is not just a difference in the number of dragon fingers. It is a complete gap and a damaged gap. Brother, each person has 1 dragon finger, how about sharing 8 SSS grade black crystals equally? Seeing that Su Chen was silent, Li Huan hurriedly spoke. Su Chen shook his head when he heard the words, expressing his disapproval of Li Huan's split method. Brother, how do you divide it? I will listen to you. Li Huan was not stingy at all, patted his chest and said. Although customs clearance is the joint credit of the 2. But he knew that if Su Chen hadn't worked hard to find him, then he has no chance to enter the beast realm at all. Able to pass through the SSS level animal realm. It is already something that he can brag about for a lifetime. So he is content. As long as it is not Su Chen, he will take all the rewards. He will not have the slightest opinion. The dragon fingers belong to you, I only need 5 SSS grade black crystals. While Li Huan was contemplating, Su Chen suddenly spoke. Hearing Su Chen's words, Li Huan was taken aback. Then he retorted, Brother, how can this be done? You are at a loss. I, Li Huan, can't do such an unjust thing. Split equally, 1 dragon finger per person. That's the deal. Su Chen was more determined than Li Huan when he saw the state. Longji, I'm really not interested. He already has a complete dragon claw, these 2 dragon fingers are really useless. That's it, brother Longji, tell me if you're not interested. But Sombra, I only take 2. Seeing Li Huan raised his head and looked stubborn, Su Chen just nodded and agreed. It's really not that he wants to take advantage of Li Huan. It's something about the system that he can't tell anyone. So he couldn't explain to Li Huan. He's got enough rewards already. Then 6 SSS grade black crystals were collected by Su Chen. Li Huan, on the other hand, played with the 2 dragon fingers enthusiastically. Su Chen pondered for a moment, but suddenly had an idea. He was thinking about going to other beast realms, to experience the power of this dragon finger first. Brother, why is the dragon finger missing? It was clearly in my hands just now. Just as Su Chen was thinking. Li Huan's voice suddenly sounded. Su Chen has long seen the fusion of Heijia and Chen Daqiang's bodies. So at this moment he explained directly. The dragon finger should be fused with your body, can you try to summon it? Li Huan suddenly widened his eyes when he heard the words, and then said excitedly. So hanging, it can still fuse with the body. Su Chen nodded and signaled Li Huan to try it quickly. Seeing this, Li Huan no longer hesitated. I closed my eyes directly and concentrated on it. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds later, Su Chen looked at Li Huan in astonishment. I saw that there was no change in his body at the moment. It's not as cool as when Chen Daqiang summoned the black armor at all. Seeing that Li Huan had opened his eyes, Su Chen hurriedly asked. How do you feel? The expression on Li Huan's face froze for a few seconds. Then he suddenly nodded to Su Chen. I can feel the dragon finger on my right hand. While talking, Li Huan stretched out his index finger and middle finger. Su Chen looked carefully, but still didn't find anything unusual. However, Li Huan turned his palm down with great interest. Insert those two fingers straight towards the ground. PFF'd. In the next second, Li Huan's two fingers inserted into the ground like cutting tofu. Brother, isn't this amazing? I can't feel any pain at all. And I feel that not only my two fingers, but my whole fist is full of strength. Li Huan shouted with surprise on his face. While Li Huan was excited, Su Chen was even more excited than him. Li Huan now only has two dragon fingers to have such an increase in strength. How perverted Su Chen, who was originally focused on strength attributes, would be after possessing a complete dragon claw. Now, Su Chen really wanted to integrate the dragon claws in the system space, and then go to the SS level beast domain to try it out. But in front of Li Huan, Su Chen couldn't reveal too much. So he pursed his lips, retreated and said, "We'll challenge the SS level beast realm in a while. When the time comes, you point this dragon to me, and I'll try its power. It's not that I don't want you to try it yourself. You only have means of attack now, without any means of defense. It will be very dangerous to encounter a fierce beast in the SS level beast domain." Hearing this, Li Huan said without doubt, "Brother, try whatever you want. Even if you still want this dragon finger now, I will give you one." Hearing Li Huan's words, Su Chen felt a little warm in his heart. Whether it's Chen Daqiang who was working together for the first time, or Li Huan now, they are all the kind of simple and honest people to the bone. Working with this kind of person is simply not too comfortable for Su Chen. Okay, then let's go try it. Immediately, Su Chen no longer hesitated, and directly led Li Huan out of the SSS level beast domain. When they returned to the first floor of the beast tower again. But it turns out that there are quite a few supernatural beings gathered here. After Li Huan and Su Chen came out of the SSS beast realm, they collectively looked at the two of them. Could it be two more supernatural beings who cleared the SSS level beast realm? Oh my god, this is already the fourth wave. It seems that the consortiums of various countries are determined to create the strongest supernatural beings. Quote. Hearing the conversation of these people, Su Chen was slightly taken aback. National Consortia, the strongest supernatural being. What is this all about? Su Chen looked around for a week, wanting to hear some more information. However, under Su Chen's gaze, the surrounding supernatural beings immediately closed their mouths and stopped speaking. As if afraid of offending him. It seems useless to stay any longer. Su Chen and Li Huan stepped into the SS level beast domain. Until he came to the enclosed space of the SS level beast domain, Su Chen was still thinking about what happened just now. Brother, don't you know what they were talking about just now? Seeing that Su Chen kept his head down in thought, he didn't choose the stone door to enter. Li Huan asked immediately. That's right, consortiums from various countries are creating the strongest superpowers. How do they build it? And the supernatural beings they created really have the strength to pass through the SSS level beast realm casually. Su Chen slowly expressed the doubts in his heart. But unexpectedly, Li Huan heard the words. A word that was very familiar to Su Chen blurted out. Brother, you haven't heard of such a big thing. Don't you usually go online? Su Chen's eyelids twitched slightly. If I remember correctly, this is the second time he heard this sentence today. The first time Hu Xiaoxiao said that he didn't go online because of something about the funeral of love. Unexpectedly, now Li Huan also said that he does not go online. He slept all afternoon this afternoon. Woke up and entered the beast realm directly. Could it be that we missed some big news again? Ah, if you know, tell me. Su Chen curled his lips and said in embarrassment. The other side, Li Huan also accepted as soon as he saw it. Slightly teased Su Chen, then explained. This afternoon, the Feller family, the top consortium in the beautiful country, announced an extremely explosive news. It turns out that the two ruthless people who cleared the customs yesterday are from their Feller family. It's the strongest ability user they created. And the Feller family is very sorry for unintentionally causing Thor to lose his ability. Talking and talking, Li Huan's eyes were already full of longing. Apparently, the words, the most powerful person, are too tempting. It's just that Li Huan didn't notice. The expression on Su Chen's face froze for an instant. What the hell? It was obviously him and Chen Daqiang who cleared the customs yesterday. This feller family is also a bit too shameless. He actually used his feat of clearing the customs to advertise for himself. That's right, brother. There's also that Thor, who was also cured by the feller family and has regained his abilities. Here. Su Chen's brows couldn't help but sink even deeper. How strong is this feller family? How could Tong Wu's abilities be recovered? It is said that Tong Wu's lightning attribute ability has made the feller family very interested. So the price for the feller family to cure him is that he must join the feller family. Li Huan then spoke, and the expression on his face suddenly changed. A trace of contempt was revealed. It is not surprising that Li Huan has this expression. Su Chen. You must know that the relationship between the Dragon Kingdom and the Beautiful Kingdom is not very good. Especially now that the supernatural beings are awakened, every supernatural being is the most precious talent in the country. Not to mention a top attack attribute supernatural being like Tong Wu. Although the power of supernatural beings is still limited. Not worth those thermal weapons, nuclear bombs and the like. But in time, people with supernatural powers are definitely the most powerful force in a country. So Tong Wu's behavior, it is no less than traitorous. Put it in the war years. He is a proper traitor. Then how do these consortiums create the strongest supernatural beings? Su Chen frowned, asked with some puzzlement. He now has a little understanding of the behavior of the feller family. They do this, in fact, to attract talent. After many people with abilities heard that the feller family had a plan to create the strongest abilities, I'm afraid they will rush to join the feller family. Even, Su Chen guessed, the consortiums of various countries have been silently building the strongest supernatural beings for a long time. It's just that the feller family issued an announcement, and they couldn't sit still. If all powerful supernatural beings are recruited by your feller family, then what are they playing? And the note of this whole thing? Su Chen guessed. Most likely it was because he and Chen Daqiang cleared the checkpoint, forcing the feller family to jump out ahead of schedule. But how did they create the strongest supernatural beings? Su Chen didn't understand. Can supernatural beings still create? Oh brother, isn't this simple? Hit it with crystals. 100 supernatural beings are not enough, then 1,000 supernatural beings. 1,000 supernatural beings are not enough, then 10,000 supernatural beings. Anyway, those consortiums from various countries have a lot of people. The last thing they lack is the spar. Hearing Li Huan's words, Su Chen couldn't help being stunned. He almost forgot about it. Every time the supernatural being clears the beast realm, those crystals can be taken outside. There is even a black market outside that specializes in buying and selling crystals. And the same reason, the spar outside can also be brought into the beast realm. In this way, they can use those crystals to exchange attributes. It has to be said that this is the way to create the most powerful person. Simple and brutal. And now, Su Chen also understood when he and Li Huan walked out of the beast tower. Why did he see a trace of contempt in the eyes of those onlookers with supernatural powers? Because they all regarded Su Chen as the kind of strong man who piled up other people's crystals. Sacrificed the fruits of labor of 1,000, or even thousands of people, to create the most powerful person. This kind of behavior really makes everyone a little uncomfortable. In the past, there were capitalists who played tricks. Now that all the powers have awakened, the power of capital is still so powerful. Su Chen pouted. There was a hint of contempt in his eyes. These capitals consume thousands of people to create one or several strongest supernatural beings. Then Su Chen wants to take a look. He is alone. Can those strongest superpowers created by capital make progress faster than him? The last time Su Chen cleared the beast realm, he gained more than 30,000 attribute points. If converted down, that is definitely the result of thousands of supernatural beings clearing the level. Su Chen doesn't know exactly how many cannon fodder supernatural beings are under those financial groups. But he guessed, certainly not tens of thousands. And the lowest level of the beast domain, the rewards are very few. The one that can really widen the gap between supernatural beings is definitely the highest level beast realm. That is, the two beast domains of SS level and SSS level. The spar rewards obtained by clearing these two beast realms are truly generous. Among the major consortiums, except for the most powerful people they created. Other cannon fodder. There is no way to challenge the strength of these two beast realms. Brother, shall we go in? At this time, seeing that Su Chen remained silent, Li Huan couldn't help asking. Now he couldn't wait to see the power of Longji. Hearing this, Su Chen restrained his thoughts, and then nodded to Li Huan. Immediately, the two of them no longer hesitated, and directly stepped into the black gate level of the SS level beast domain. After a short blur of vision, a lush world suddenly appeared in front of Su Chen and Li Huan. The animal land scenes that Su Chen cleared before were a bit depressing. Looking at the world in front of him, which is full of towering giant trees, Su Chen couldn't help feeling relieved. Brother, where's the beast? Why are there no beasts here? After Li Huan was silent for a while, he suddenly asked in a daze. Not to mention the brutal beasts in their line of sight, there wasn't even a single living thing. What does this challenge them to do? Challenge the air? Don't worry, just take a closer look. Su Chen was talking. At the same time, he fused the dragon fingers that Li Huan gave him. In an instant, Su Chen felt his middle finger and index finger become indestructible. And an inexplicable surging force permeated between his palms and fingers. Su Chen suspects that this should be the strength of the keel. His skeleton was slightly modified after fusing these two dragon fingers. And this is only a case of a little integration. Su Chen guessed, if it can always be fused with the dragon finger, then his palm will be completely transformed. Thinking of this, Su Chen immediately planned to leave the beast realm. Just completely integrate the dragon claw floating in the system space with his right hand. Given time, he really couldn't imagine his tyrannical strength attributes combined with the black dragon's claws. What kind of horrible situation can be reached? Hear Su Chen's words. Li Huan was also in high spirits. The two of them carefully looked at the green world in front of them, trying to find traces of the beast. And in the next second, Su Chen suddenly felt a chill behind his back. Before he had time to think, Su Chen directly raised his fist and slammed towards the back. PFF'd. Boom. An explosion sounded suddenly. Li Huan, who didn't know what happened beside him, hastily turned around. Immediately afterwards, he saw a huge tree trunk that was smashed to pieces by Su Chen. This. Li Huan was already speechless in surprise. But Su Chen pulled him back tens of meters in an instant. Subsequently, Su Chen stared at the tens of thousands of towering giant trees in front of him. He licked his lips and said, "These are SS rank monsters." When Su Chen finished speaking, the 60,000 to 70,000 towering giant trees in front of them stretched out their bodies at the same time. The giant tree, which already covered the sky and the sun, looked even bigger at this time. Facing the bright sunlight, the appearance of countless thick tree trunks waving, seems to be a group of demons dancing wildly. Su Chen asked Li Huan to back off a little more. Immediately he stepped out, already a few meters away. At this time, Su Chen stared at the towering giant trees in front of him, his eyes full of fighting spirit. This is his first time fighting head-on. Relying on the black armor last time, he just stood still and was beaten. But at this moment, even in the face of these beasts of the SS level, there was no timidity in Su Chen's eyes either. In the era of the awakening of supernatural beings, fighting is inevitable. If Kong has power but doesn't know how to use it, then he is definitely inferior. So, Su Chen planned to use this SS level monster. Come and hone your fighting skills. But, if Su Chen's idea was known to others, his jaw would definitely drop in shock. It's not that no one has honed their fighting skills in the beast realm. But most people choose B-level or even C-level low-level beast domains. Su Chen was going to practice with SS-level beasts this time around. Simply unheard of. If other people see this scene before them, they will definitely think that Su Chen is a lunatic. A complete fighting maniac, and Su Chen dared to do so because of his support. Thoughts moved slightly. The red patterned armor fit perfectly on Su Chen's skin. Naturally, the red patterned armor, like the black armor, has the cool effect of transformation. But Su Chen was afraid of scaring Li Huan, so he didn't use it. But even without transforming, the defensive strength can almost reach 90% of the full form. So, at the moment when the red tattooed armor completely fit the body, a sense of security rose in Su Chen's heart. Immediately, he stopped hesitating and rushed towards a towering tree. If you look closely, you will find it. Su Chen didn't clench his fist at all. It turned out that he just wanted to rely on the defensive power of the red pattern armor to take this blow hard. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.